Welcome to the show. We at Trucking Life welcome you all. Now, pull that rig over, hit the head, grab a drink and snack, settle in, and let's get this show on the road. And now, your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's installment of Trucking Life, our live show. Trucking Life comes to you live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And we also do a Sunday show, 11 a.m. All these times are in Central Time, 11 a.m. on Sunday every week. I am your grateful host, the host with the most till I give up the ghost. My name is Ed Plow, otherwise known as Big Rig Ed. You can find me online at Big Rig Ed on Facebook, and also my YouTube channel is Big Rig Ed. I'm also available an email address, bigrigedonline at gmail.com. As you'll see, we're kind of dressing down a little bit here. It's a little bit of a less formal show for us. I'm currently laying down in my bunk, and the reason for that is that yesterday I seriously injured my foot. So, take a note from me. Don't ever chase after a yard dog trying to get some help in a garbage processing plant. You will step on a piece of garbage, you will roll your ankle, and you will put yourself out of commission. It's very painful. Now, with all that said, this has kind of prompted me to think about a very important topic that I've never really considered much before. And that's going to be our main topic for tonight, and that is truckers with disabilities. Because now that I'm a little, it's a little difficult for me to get around. It's making me think about people with mobility issues a bit more than usual. So that's going to be our main topic for tonight, and I have a great co-host that's going to be joining us as well. If this is your first time with us, if you are a Trucking Life newbie, please do us all a big, huge favor. Hit all of the appropriate buttons below the screen, for whatever platform that you're using to watch us on. If you're on Facebook, hit the like and follow buttons. If you are on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and the little bell icon. Do not rely on the algorithms to tell you when Trucking Life is live. All right. Don't let the algorithms of Google and Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them, tell you what to watch. You make your own decisions, right? So hit those subscribe and follow buttons so that way you never miss a notification for when we are live. Now, I want to not leave him backstage any longer. He is the star of International Asphalt Junkies. He is a big up-and-coming person within DART on their lease operation program. And the government knows him as Robert Arentzen, but we all know him as the one, the only, the lovable goof, Dutch. Say hi to Dutch, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, this is Dutch. So, Dutch, this is your live show debut. Is there anything you want to tell the people of Trucking Life? Any information that you feel that they should know about you in case they haven't caught one of your shows?
Technically, I just drive and stream. Everything you see is 100% live, not recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I try to make it as fun as possible, try to make it interesting as possible. And I also do, most likely, a nightly chat stream on my platform, International Asphalt Junkies, on Facebook. I think I have the group, I have the page, and I also have a YouTube, which is International Asphalt Junkie. Instagram, same thing. And TikTok, same thing.
Awesome. So you're on all the platforms there. Good stuff.
Try to.
Let's see. Did I miss anything? As far as my introduction, nope. I got everything right. I didn't mispronounce your name, did I? I was kind of worried about that.
You did not. It's Arentzen, like
Arentzen.
son of Aaron. Arentzen.
Yeah, Arentzen. I think I said it right.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
did.
cool deal. Let's see. I think the only bit of housekeeping that we need to do for Trucking Life is we have officially launched a new project from Margaret. I'm going to mispronounce her name, and I'm going to feel terrible when I do it. Margaret Debelot, also known as That Trucking Chick, the life coach. Um, let's see if we saw a couple of comments there. Arkansas is in the truck, buddy. Cool deal. Um, she is famous for, or most well known for launching the Change the World hashtag. Yep, there we go. And she is now launching a new movement called uh, Truckers Are People. And so we have a new commercial, a new video for her. Um, and in case you did not catch our Sunday show, we definitely wanted to take the time to run that video for you this evening, so that way you can have a chance to watch it. And Dutch, after the video rolls, you and I are going to discuss that for a little bit, if that's all right. All right, good stuff. All right, Jed, you want to roll that video, bud?
Margaret DeBlot, aka That Trucking Chick, and founder of the hashtag Change the World movement, partnering with Trucking Life Incorporated, proudly present to you the hashtag Truckers Are Humans. We have always been your essential workers, transporting all your goods, fruits, vegetables, eggs, milk. All your mail, medical supplies, and any ordered products are moved by us. We work 14-hour days, 70 hours a week, driving hundreds of miles a day. Whether we're sick, hurt, or tired, we roll. Sleeping wherever we can find a place to park, whether it's safe or not. Driving as far as our logs will allow us to. Eating whatever is available, if anything. Enduring long, dark highways, slick, snowy roads, and all those rush hours and traffic jams that you hate, we live in every single day. Missing our families and only seeing them a few days a month. Why do we subject ourselves to all of this? We drive for them. We drive for you. We drive for our country. As you venture out into the world and interact with us on these roads, highways, and interstates, give us a smile, extend a hello, get to know us and our trucking life. So please remember, we are human just like you, not machines. We want life, liberty, and freedom like any other Americans would. We are human. We are truckers. We change the world for you.
All right. So, Dutch, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to watch that before or not, but you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. Whenever you hear something like hashtag truckers are humans, what thoughts pop up in your head for that? Do you have any thoughts on that you want to share with the people?
Well, I've been noticing, I don't know, even before COVID, that a lot of these facilities, hence Walmart, hence anywhere. They won't let you park there overnight. If they do, they don't have available restrooms or facilities that you can use. Which, even when you're delivering, I mean, I've been to places and I say, "Can I use your facility?" Oh, no. You got to go out there to the porta potty. I wouldn't let
Yeah.
my worst enemy go into some of those porta potties they have there because they're never cleaned, they're never emptied. No, I mean, I have had hold up for days at a time because I couldn't find the restroom. And then like when COVID started, or like soon after it started, a lot of these restaurants were closing on the East Coast. Like Pennsylvania closed like almost all their rest areas because of COVID, because they didn't
Yeah.
want to clean it. How's that fair to us? That's the only place we can, and most times use the road, but then there's a possibility we can put in jail. How's that fair
Yeah.
to us, animals? Like she said, we're not animals. We are human beings. We are here making sure that you have yourselves. I mean, that's what I think about it. It's just wrong. I mean, and I think you and I were talking about it earlier. I mean, even these, like we're talking about with the disabled, there's no accessory. There's no access for anybody with wheelchairs in most of these places either. So how you gonna get in there?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on when we get into that main topic. Yeah, but I appreciate you for bringing that up. Um, were there any other thoughts?
I mean,
I,
like
don't, I just don't. I
instant.
just want to make sure I don't like cut you off and everything. You were like
Oh
getting
no,
ready
no,
to
no.
say
You're
something.
not gonna cut me off. I mean, like Walmart, for instance. I mean, they, even though we shop there, we deliver there, they won't let us there because other truck drivers. I understand some of them do act like animals. They throw their
Huh.
stuff out. I'm not gonna say what it is, but they throw certain stuff out the window, which looks bad on us. The people that actually throw away our bottles, throw away everything that we have in the truck, instead of throwing it on the ground and letting someone else pick it up. That's one reason why we're stuck. We are being treated like we're being treated is because other drivers.
Yeah.
So yes, we are treated like animals, but also we got to tell the other drivers to stop acting like animals sometimes. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. No, it's there is an accountability component to that. Like I do agree with that. There is an accountability component where we've got to, not only police after ourselves, but also, try and, whenever we see somebody doing it wrong. Like I know that this is like kind of like a hard thing to articulate out loud, but it's like, you're a grown man. There's another grown man, doing something really disgusting in public, and it's like how I don't know. It's like one of those like really difficult things to think about. It's like you really want to like say like, hey, dude, pick up your piss bottle or
Or at least
don't
throw it
crap
away in
all
the
over the
trash.
toilet seat or whatever. We've
Yeah.
all seen really crazy stuff at in public restrooms, but it's also am I going to get in a fight in a men's room because some other guy crapped on the seat, you know? So it's an interesting thing, but no, I really agree with everything that you said. It's like there was a trend. Um, Hi, Teresa. It's like there was this trend that uh, that was happening before COVID, where shippers and receivers, these warehouses, were getting less and less hospitable to all of us truck drivers, and it's almost as if COVID was like a godsend for them because they wanted to stop giving us access to their facilities, and then after COVID, it's like oh, now we have like a really valid reason to stop offering access to our facilities, so now we don't even have to come up with an excuse for it anymore. And now that COVID is starting to get to a point where it's more manageable. We have our therapeutics, we have our vaccines, we have, we can still mask and socially distance and everything. I still regularly come to places where I'm not even allowed in their building. They don't even want to see me. They just want me to call a number and then just back into a dock. And it's really interesting. It's really accelerated the I would go so far as to say anti-trucker trends that I
Yep,
saw before. It's to
exactly.
the point where like, I know it's difficult for me to use this phrase and this term, but you almost feel like a second class citizen, where like, yeah, like, these guys that work there, they have access to bathrooms, they have a place to sleep and so on and so forth. But um, yeah, that's what. All right, so yeah, Chris was sitting there kind of saying what I'm saying here. Yeah, that's, they want what's in the trailer, but they
But
don't
they
want
don't
to.
want
They
that.
don't want to accommodate the
Yeah.
driver that's doing the work there. Yeah, no, that's a good point, Chris. I appreciate
I'm
that.
sorry, but the way my phone's set up, I can see the blue line, but I cannot see anybody's. I mean, I can see
Yeah,
now.
I've got to sit here. I'm constantly scrolling. It's one
I
of
don't
these
even. I
days
can't
I'm
even
gonna
scroll. I mean,
upgrade.
the way my phone is, it sucks because I can see us. If I go vertical, I see you and me, and I see the bottom. But it's better this way for me because I'm not like concentrating on two different me's. I'm just concentrating on one. I think maybe next time I'll use my tablet, which I have behind me. I didn't set it up this time because it's dead. I don't want to charge it. But
Pretty much, yeah.
like you're saying, that I remember going to a place, I forget where it was, and you had to walk up a pair of steps, and you couldn't even go in the building. There was like a plexiglass area, and then there was a little area where they were, and then they had to come up to you to the plexiglass, and you handed a piece of paper through the wall. It's like, it reminds me of the speakeasies. And back in those
What's the
days when they,
password?
yeah, exactly. What's the password? Oh, here's my paperwork. I mean, come on. It's like, you
Right,
want the beer in the back of my truck, you want this in the back of my trunk, but you don't want me. I
right.
understand during COVID they're trying to be careful, but being careful, being overly careful, is different.
Yeah. One
Now,
last
I mean,
point I want to make before we go to commercial break is so everyone's kind of already seen my little co-pilot Trip, my little dorky truck pup. And something that I've noticed is uh, a lot of shippers and receivers are more open to the idea of allowing me to walk him on their lawn and allowing him to piss and crap on their lawn. Now keep in mind, I pick up after him. I am a responsible pet owner. I have poop bags attached to his leash and everything. I always pick up after him. But they're more receptive to allowing me to walk him and letting them pee on their property than allowing me to go inside, a grown man and pee in a restroom like we're supposed to be able to. But yeah, that was the last point I wanted to make on that. We're a little past our time for a commercial break, so everyone stay tuned. Don't touch those dials, and we will be back with more Trucking Life Live after a brief message from our sponsors.
Listen up, Mother Truckers. Missy Rickman's debut novel, Mother Trucker Because It's Never Too Late, is now available in hardback, paperback, and ebook format. Sandy, the main character, is in the middle of a midlife crisis. It leads her to become a truck driver, and this new venture brings not only passion and adventure back to her life, but also 4 new best friends. Sweet and sassy, Mother Trucker is Smokey and the Bandit meets Bridesmaids. Filled with comedy, emotion, and some embarrassing adventures across America, Missy draws from her own life experiences in this hilarious, heartfelt book about rediscovering yourself. Order today at www.mothertruckerthebook.com or go on Amazon or Barnes & Noble and order your copy today. All ratings and reviews are welcome on Amazon or Goodreads.com. Happy reading, Mother Truckers.
Always get a chuckle out of that one. All right, so now we're gonna go into the next little piece of our live show here. We're gonna talk about some news that is happening in the trucking industry. Dutch, did you want to go first? I know you'd found something on diesel prices, I think you said.
yeah, I was looking. I mean, of course, I'm in a truck stop. I know Loves, and I looked up, and I'm like, that's interesting. 408 here. I think it's 403 if you pay on credit, but pay cash like 398, something like that. And I know that
Yeah.
every place where I'm on I-65 North and South, it's about down a little So I'm like, well, let me look it up. Well, they're saying that in the U.S. right now, the 4104 gallon of diesel. Okay, difference of $1.032 from last year, and last week alone, it's almost 5 cents different.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's going up.
Yeah.
Coast is 16 cents. Midwest is 3.16, 70 cents. Gulf Coast 80. The Rocky Mountain area is about 397, 398. West Coast is, and California is $5.10 almost. And I'm not saying it's because of Biden. The U.S. Today says Biden's not to blame for the rising prices. Demand is causing a spike. That's weird, because if that's true, then why was I last year? I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, that's partially true, but that's partially not. They're also saying that the U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, expects gasoline and diesel prices to fall in 2022. Okay, we just started 2022. And 2023 as demand slows down. Okay, but they expect diesel prices to rise an average of $3.33 a gallon in 2022 before decreasing to $3.27 a gallon in 2023. So that's a 5-cent decrease nationwide. And I read somewhere else that they're saying that I think it's Kiplinger is saying that due to the crisis in Ukraine, the prices of diesel in America will soar. So U.S. Today is saying it's not Biden's fault. Okay. The EIA is saying that it's going to go down, but Kiplinger is saying due to the stuff that's happening in Ukraine, it's going to soar. I mean, they're saying above $4 to $5 a gallon average around the United States. So, I mean, which is going to, in hindsight, that's going to make the consumer pay. It's going to be like a McDonald's burger. It's $1.29 now. It's going to go up to $2 almost. Who wants to pay for $2 for a burger, or $1.98 to $2.20 for a gallon of milk or a gallon of orange juice? It's crazy. When is it going to stop? When are these prices going to stop? Something needs to happen soon, because people are going to have a lot more trucker shortage than we have now. That's a big issue. We're going to lose a lot. I say this is enough's enough. I'd rather do something else than do this and pay this high price, because the price will go up, but the person not going to. It's going to hurt more because I got to pay the fund. Yeah, I get a fuel surcharge, but it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
If it goes up to $5 a gallon, I'm going to have to pay more now. Included. So, and then that's going to be handed down the shipping price to me, and it's going down to the consumer, anyone else who's watching, buying a gallon of milk, buying tires, buying oil, and they're saying the economy is getting better. I don't know. I don't see. There's a break in it soon, but I don't see it. I think that's going to go up to at least $5 a gallon by the end of this year, maybe even sooner, and it's going to hurt this industry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about with all of this mess going on, and with Russia and Ukraine right there, because Russia's a major oil exporter, particularly for Europe
Yep.
and Asia and that whole section of the world. And so, the thing is that, just because Russia invades Ukraine doesn't mean people in Great Britain stop driving their cars. And, so the problem there is that as, because Russia, we're sanctioning the crap out of them. They're basically, to the point where they can't really interact in the global economy anymore as sanctioned as they are, at least not in a major sense. And so, people in Germany and Spain and France and all these other Western European countries, they're still going to need their oil supplies, but it's just going to have to come from elsewhere because as all this is happening in Russia, they're going to wind up holding on to their oil reserves, and kind of playing things close to the chest, I suppose you could say. But yeah, no, it's gonna be an interesting time here, on the global economy in the next
Not to
several
cut
months
you
here
off,
as this whole thing plays out.
the reason why my name is
Hey, Amy.
Dutch. My family is from the Netherlands, which is Holland, Amsterdam, and talked to my cousin last week about his price of diesel. He has a diesel. His price of diesel per is about what we pay per gallon here.
Yeah,
So that's 4 times as
yeah,
much.
it's
Hindsight, they have
their import
their,
prices, their taxes, everything's really different over there.
and plus better bus system, train system, transportation is a lot.
Oh yeah, you
100
almost
times
don't even
better
need a
there.
car.
And they have bike roads, bike bridges. I mean, they have everything there. I mean, if the United States wanted to make an example out of a country, I think it should be them because, I mean, I've been there quite a few times, and it's just weird to see do the contrast between. My cousin comes over here, gets hot over here without a car. You got to drive 2 miles to get to a grocery store, or a mile to get here, a mile and a half. Everything's so close by over there because but still everything is so close by, and it's easy to get to. Here we got to travel to get to some places.
Right. Yeah. It's for a lot of people, it's 30 minutes plus just to get to the next population center, just to be able to get some groceries or go to the movies, anything that you might want to do. That's always been something I've heard a lot about for people that are from other countries that come to America to visit, do the tourism thing, is that they never really realize how big America is and how long it takes just to get from one part of the country to the other.
Yes.
I think I was reading a story one time about some folks that were visiting in the Northeast, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to do today?" "Oh, I want to go down and see Miami," not realizing that it's almost like it's like a 2-day drive to get down there. Let's see. We're bumping
Because
up
I
against
me
another
one day how
commercial
far
break.
it is. Okay.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's a
Oh, I think we lost Dutch there. The other bit of news, since I'm just sitting here, the other bit of news that I heard was there's been a big investment in the I-70 corridor going through Colorado. There's going to be a $700 million investment in an 8-mile stretch there that's being turned into a shipping bottleneck, and so you're going to start seeing a lot more construction if you're running I-70 through Colorado, through the mountains there. You're going to start seeing a lot more construction in that area here, starting off pretty soon. But hopefully, by the time that the construction is done, that that bottleneck through the Eisenhower Tunnel and all that will be much reduced. All right, so let's go ahead and do our second commercial break of the night, and we'll be back with you soon after a message from these sponsors.
Everybody say hello to Dutch Arentzen. Dutch is an over-the-road truck driver who calls Florida home with his wife Teresa and his dog Loki. While Dutch's name comes from his family in Holland, he was born in England and has lived in the United States for over 42 years. Dutch is the creator and founder of International Asphalt Junkies here on Facebook and has several other accounts as the International Asphalt Junkie on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and more. He's been a truck driver for over 18 years, driving for some major carriers, including Dart, Prime, JB Hunt, Schneider, and more. Trucking Life is proud to partner with Dutch as he streams his daily life for the world to see. Be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe to all of his pages so you too can get to know this awesome guy. Dutch thoroughly enjoys interacting with his viewers and showing the world how it all gets moved from here to there in this trucking life. Go follow him today.
And we're back. Dude, you have a cool commercial. All right. I haven't had a chance to see mine yet, but I like your commercial. That was pretty cool. Yeah. No, if you haven't started following Dutch yet. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, if you haven't started following Dutch yet, yeah, now you kind of have to. All right, so I did my little piece of news. I've got one more news story that I wanted to share with everyone before we launch into our disabilities topic tonight. This is just to prove that we are absolutely live. This is something that is completely not trucking related whatsoever, but it is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So if anyone knows me, you know that I am a massive nerd. I'm actually currently sitting here with my Batman shirt and my Super Mario jammies, right? So I am a gamer. I like to play video games in my off hours. That's how I like to decompress and relieve stress and all that, blow off steam at the end of the day. So the big news that came out last week: gamers of the world, rejoice and be merry, because the Lord Gavin and the Church of Valve have released the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is a brand new handheld gaming computer. It's basically kind of like a Nintendo Switch, but you can hold it in your hand. It's a full-fledged gaming PC. It's being lauded as one of the biggest changes in mobile gaming. It's one of the biggest innovations in mobile gaming in the last 20 years. And I've got mine pre-ordered, and I'm super hyped and super stoked and super excited about it. As a trucker, you've only got a limited space and a limited ability to power certain devices. So the idea of an extremely portable gaming solution in a truck is very awesome to me, and I can't wait to get this thing in my hands. If you're curious about it at all, if you're a gamer or thinking about getting into gaming, and you've never really thought about PC gaming as an option because you think it's maybe a little too daunting, the Steam Deck might be your solution. Check it out, store.steampowered.com. You can put a $5 deposit on this thing, and you're put in the queue. You don't have to fight to get one or anything like that. Basically, they just put you in line, and then you can purchase one. They're also extremely affordable. It's $400 for the base model. Let's see. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, Dutch, before we launch into disabilities here?
No, that was it.
Let's see. Chris sent me a comment here asking if the Colorado construction was connected to the semi crash where the driver went to jail. I don't believe so. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just kind of browsed through that article real quick. It didn't mention anything like that. It was more about the bottleneck. I believe they were referencing to the bottleneck at the Eisenhower Tunnel. I think that's. Am I right on that, Dutch? The Eisenhower Tunnel? Isn't that what it's called? That tunnel across I-70? What's that?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called.
Okay. So I mean, I've been stuck in traffic there before, and it's really harrowing because you're kind of, on a extreme, downward, plunge right there. And particularly during the winter, the roads are, either slick with ice or snow or water or whatever. And now you've got stopped traffic right there, and you've got, full load of, whatever it is you got behind you, kind of pushing you towards the traffic. So yeah, if they could do like a widening project, get something going on there, I think that'd be really awesome. All right, so because it's me and because it's a live show with me as your host, you guys already know I've got pages of notes to get through here. So today's topic, we are talking about American truckers with disabilities, and but before we can talk about American truckers with disabilities, we've got to do a quick, just for context, talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act and what it's done for America in general and stuff like that. So I'm just going to kind of blow through this as quickly as I can. So this is the thing that kind of struck me. The Americans with Disability Act was signed into law in 1990. So when you talk about these civil rights movements, it's really easy to forget that they really didn't happen all that long ago. 1990. I was born in 91. So a year before I was born, I'm 31 years old now. A year before I was born, it was perfectly legal to discriminate against people with disabilities. But yeah, so the Americans with Disability Act prohibits discrimination based on disability. It makes disabilities a protected status on par with race, religion, sex, national origin, and then these were added later on: sexual orientation and gender identity, and etc. Unlike the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Americans with Disabilities Act requires employers to provide reasonable accommodations to employees with disability and imposes accessibility requirements on public accommodations. So that would be like wheelchair ramps and wheelchair accessible tables, restrooms, things of that nature. So just to kind of give you an idea, it passed the Senate 76-8, and it passed the House with a unanimous voice vote. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine something like that happening in today's politics there? Something passing the House with unanimous voice vote? That was just incredible. And something that I wanted to talk about is one of the things that really galvanized support for this bill was this protest called the Capitol Crawl of 1990. And we've got some pictures of the Capitol Crawl there. So basically what happened is a bunch of disabled Americans showed up at the U.S. Capitol, and they left their wheelchairs at the base of the steps leading up to the Capitol, and they crawled as best as they could to the top of the steps. That little girl right there, I believe, if I remember correctly, her story was that she has cerebral palsy, and she says that she was going to reach the top even if it took her all day and all night. And but yeah, so they're crawling up the steps, literally screaming, ADA now, Americans with Disabilities Act, pass it now. And that was something that really changed how a lot of congressional members thought about the bill, because they were literally inconvenienced by trying to enter the Capitol that day, because they had to walk over the bodies of the disabled people crawling up the steps. And and that happened, like I said, not that long ago. It was perfectly legal to build a government building without handicap support. Let's see, a couple other things I want to talk about. I kind of went out of order here in my notes. So before the passage of the Americans with Disability Act, every state had at one point practiced legal segregation for disability. Disabled kids were excluded from public schools. People with minor disabilities were put in institutions. Some states prohibited disabled people to marry and forced them to be sterilized. You got to keep in mind, eugenics was a thing, where, if you're disabled, then therefore your children are going to be disabled and going to be, burdens to the state and so on and so forth. So you had to be sterilized. Yep. Thank you, Chris. I was going to talk about that in just a second. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. That was one of my really close. Oh, I'm sorry. My puppy just decided to say hi. Hi. He woke up from his nap and chose violence. All right. Let's see. All right. So forced them to be sterilized. Cities had what we call ugly laws. I'm so sorry about this, everyone. All right, come on, bud. You got to go back down there. Lay down. I know. It's bright in here. You got to be good. So sorry about that, everyone. All right. So cities had quote unquote ugly laws forbidding disabled people from being in public because their appearance was considered offensive, and employment opportunities were extremely limited. Let's see. Unlike the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Americans with Disability Act required employers to provide reasonable. Oh no, I already said all that. I'm so sorry. All right, so all of that I said before, something to keep in mind, everyone. There are 329.5 million people in the United States. As of 2019, 41.1 million have a disability. All right, so to do the math for you, that's about 13%. 13% of all Americans have a disability. That's about 1 in 5. So 1 in 5 Americans, that you see, on the streets have some sort of a disability. Now that's not institutionalized, so that's people that that they can be, whatever their disability is, they're not in some sort of home or not like in some sort of what am I trying to say? They're not in some sort of like a psych ward or something like that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're able to interact with the public. Now, this is the part where my research kind of hit a wall. 3.5 million truck drivers currently in the United States. However, the number of disabled truckers, I could not find a number for that. I guess that's something that's not really covered. I don't know if Chris, I was asking you to look up some numbers for me earlier. I don't know if you can leave a comment real quick. I don't know if you found that number. I couldn't find that number of how many truckers are disabled. Let's see. One thing I wanted to say was case law for disabled truckers. Yeah, care facility. Yeah, that's probably what I should have said there instead of a psych ward. Yeah, it's probably insensitive on my part. I do apologize for that. Let's see. Case law for disabled truckers is relatively inconsistent and differs per case and per jurisdiction. I found one case where a gentleman with a cerebral palsy related gait issue was denied entry to a trucking school. He sued, he won, and was awarded $90,000. There was another gentleman, different jurisdiction, was deaf, was denied access to the trucking school, but he lost his case because the lawyers in that case were able to successfully argue that him being deaf and being in a truck being trained posed a safety risk for the public because he wouldn't be able to hear his instructions and he wouldn't be able to hear his instructors. Now, something that pretty much all of us know, you have to be medically certified to drive. Lots of health-related issues can sideline a commercial motor vehicle driver. However, people with disabilities, they've got extra hoops that they've got to drive through if they want to be medically certified in the United States. They have to be able to prove that their disability is being managed by their doctor. And they also have to pass what's called an SPE, a special performance evaluation, where basically they've got to prove that whatever their disability is, that it doesn't impact their ability to do the job. Basically, they've got to be able to prove that, even though I might, be hard of hearing or be an amputee or what have you, I can still perform my job, just as well as anyone else. And I think we've got a couple of pictures that we can show of American truckers that that they are disabled. Yeah, so like right here we've got a gentleman who's an amputee. So I don't know if both of his legs are amputated or if just the one. I think both of them are, but he's still able to operate his pedals there and still able to drive. This was a picture that we found online. This is from a MAN, M-A-N, is a European truck manufacturer, and they created a special kind of a crane right there in order to lift a gentleman with a wheelchair into his, and they call them lorries, so he's a lorry driver. And so he was able to, even though he has a wheelchair, he was able to get in and out of his vehicle. And I tell you what, some days I kind of wish I had a crane for me. Yeah, that's probably a good point. So Chris put a comment on there. Disabilities are not allowed to be disclosed in trucking, so that's why I can't find any published research and numbers. So yeah, well, it makes me feel a little bit better though, because like I'm sitting there, I'm kind of like pulling what little hair I got left out here. I'm like, why can't I find this number? I feel like this number should be published somewhere. Let's see, Dutch. Any thoughts on anything that I said there? Any things that you might want to add? You're okay, Alana. We waited for you. Dutch, are you there, bud? I think you're frozen. I think Dutch is frozen. All right. Well, I guess we'll give him a moment to try and refresh his browser there. We're running up against our last commercial break of the evening there. So everyone, please don't touch those dials. Stay tuned for more messages from our sponsors, and then we're going to have our last little bit of Trucking Life, our live show. All right, and we're back. Looks like it's just me for now. I don't think we've got Dutch back just yet. Hopefully he comes back on soon. So the last bit that I wanted to talk about was, some of my adventures as a CDL instructor and experiences that I had trying to teach and train individuals that had disabilities. I'm sorry, my puppy has woken up from his nap, and like I said, he has chosen violence, particularly on my toes. So, yep, there he goes. Hi, hello. Hi, I'm live. 100 people can watch you. Hundreds of people are currently watching you back. Terribly. Can I help you? Did those little anti-anxiety chews not work? Yep, no. He wants to play. All right. So, so my first experience training an individual that had a disability. This was a gentleman that had a hearing impairment. He had I don't know if it was a hearing aid or if it was or it was one of those cochlear implants. But the thing was is that the device was tiny, and he had slightly longer hair right around his ears there. So I had been training this guy for a week or two, and I had zero indication that he had any sort of trouble hearing me whenever I was giving him instructions out on the road. And it wasn't until one day we were coming back into the terminal, and I'm sitting there, I'm trying to give him directions for what lane I want him to be in, because we had like these different fuel lanes getting into this terminal. And I realized he's not following my instructions. So I kind of tap him on the shoulder, and I'm like, hey dude, oh, I think we got Dutch back. Is he back?
And I'm having a little bit of work.
It's all good,
Can you hear
man. Yeah, I can hear you. I'm mid story, and then we'll hear from you there. So I'm tapping this guy on the shoulder, and I'm like, hey man, can you hear me? I'm thinking something's wrong with him. And he's like, oh, sorry, I gotta turn my hearing aid up, and I'm like, dude, you've got a hearing impairment? And he's like, yeah. And he pulled his hair back, and he showed me his his little hearing aid there, and I'm like, oh, cool. We got a guy with a hearing impairment in the driver's seat, and the guy training them without his glasses is legally blind. And so, he and I, we had a, kind of a little bit of a laugh over that. And of course, everyone in the back of the truck is like, what the hell is going on? What the F, right? Because you got a guy in the driver's seat. Literally, the only thing that's keeping us between the ditches is his ability to hear me, and the guy in the passenger seat giving all the directions. The only reason why he's able to even see where we're going is because he's got his glasses on. So it's kind of an interesting, fun little thing that happened there. Dutch, I think you had some experiences you wanted to share. We were talking about earlier. Some drivers that you knew that had a disability.
And I knew a couple of them I've driven with like Prime, for instance. I had a driver that was teaming when you do the training. This is not one I've told you about earlier, but I was training with him, and like you said, I'm talking to the guy, and I'm driving, of course, and he's like trying to help me navigate, and he's like, turn left, turn right, turn left. I'm like, do you know where you're going? And he's like, turn left. I'm like, excuse me, do you know where you're going? He goes, turn left. I look over and he goes like this. And I'm like, great. He had one of those implants in his ears. And I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, I said, slowly, do you hear me? He goes, did I not turn my thing on? I said, I don't know. I mean, we were both
Yeah, it's like I don't
dumb
know.
and,
Like, did you? It's
like
like, how
dumb
can
and
we answer
dumber.
that
I mean,
question?
and that's what I called our training program, Dumb and Dumber. You got two trainees in the same truck trying to get in it, and then you got that to deal with. I'm like, so I talked to my dispatcher. You didn't tell me he had a call it implant. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I'm like, damn, that would make my life a little easier if I knew that. I could tap him on the shoulder. Hey, I've been on. Can you hear me? I've had friends of mine that actually, I know a guy that had, I was
Well, I
at
know
a
that
truck
that can get a
stop.
little sticky there, because I know that there are laws, and I know Chris can probably comment a little bit more,
Oh, yeah.
definitively on this. But I want to say they're not really allowed to, or they're not required to really disclose it there, because they're not allowed to discriminate
Nope.
against them. Because just disclosing it could be seen as a potential act of discrimination.
And then there's a
So
law thing as well.
it's like one of those things. Like, yeah, like you kind of want to know, you kind of need to know, but also at the same time, like, there are laws that protect them. So I don't know, but anyway, continue on. I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
I met this guy at a truck stop a long time ago, and he was riding around in a wheelchair. I'm like, are you a driver? I mean, I didn't mean to be rude or anything. I said, you a driver? He goes, yeah, I've been driving for 10 years. I'm like, how does that work? And he said, don't worry, you're not making me mad or anything. I'll show you. And like in the picture, he had that little lift him up to the truck. He had no pedals. Everything was done by hand, by like little switches in the hand. He had like looked like three turn signals, like two on one side, one on the other side. It was kind of cool. One for brake,
Yeah.
one for accelerator. I said, they made this for you. He goes, no, I had to buy this. I mean, he said, but the government helped, which was a good thing. He said there are a lot of agencies that will help if you want to. Because I don't know if I told you, but all my friends that are disabled, one way or another, they don't like being treated different than anyone else. They want you to treat them like you're treating your best friend, you treat your next neighbor, you treat your family. They don't want to be
Right. Yeah.
given
They
that.
typically don't even want any like deference as related to their disability.
Exactly. They don't want.
Yeah.
They don't want extra. Like, oh, I'm gonna treat you differently because I'm gonna do extra for you. No, they want because they like it that they're treated equal to everyone else. And I've been told that many times.
We
Hey,
love
don't
you
call
too,
me
Brian.
disabled. They're like, don't call me disabled, please. Don't look at me any different than anyone else. Think of me as a good friend, and that's what I did, and they loved it. I mean, I go visit them at work, or I go like the one truck. I see him all the time. I'm like, hey man, how's it going out there? He goes, how you doing, Dutch? I'm like, I'm doing great. And then I told him, of course, about my streaming. So he's on my streams all the time, saying, hey, good for you, man, doing good. I'm glad because I mean, he seen me go through from bottom to top. I mean, he seen me like really struggle and have a hard time, and that's the thing. People think, oh, this it's how they make it hard. But if they want a good life, they can have a good life. I mean, they have all the same capabilities as we do, and sometimes more.
I think we might have lost him. Oh no, there you go.
No,
Hello.
I'm here. Hear
Okay,
me?
there you go. Yeah, you're every so often throughout the stream, we'll go back and watch the video every now and then. Your video slows down a little bit. I don't know if mine's been doing the same thing. I'm sure I probably wouldn't be able to see it, but every now and then we lose the ability to hear you a little bit.
It's weird because I got 5G UC, which is like top of the line 5G. I don't know what it is.
5G.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's all fake. It's all way of making extra money.
Right.
That's that, that
The
that's another
okay.
stream, another comment.
Yeah. The one thing that I did want to kind of call out though is like there are people with disabilities that they don't allow their disabilities to define them. They want to live their lives but like okay, like you might be in a wheelchair, but that doesn't mean that you can't go like rock climbing or like do these crazy things that you would think that they would never actually be able to do, but they do them anyway. They don't allow their disabilities to define them. But then there are people out there that do the opposite there, because I ran into, as a CDL instructor, I ran into a lot of people that had learning disabilities. Okay. I ran into a lot of people with learning disabilities, and it's almost as if they did like allow that learning disability to define and take over their lives. There was this guy that I don't know if he was dyslexic or he had some sort of learning disability that made it really difficult for him to learn how to read. And at some point in the second grade, he just basically decided that he wasn't going to be able to read anymore beyond whatever he had already learned at that point, and tried to live his life accordingly. But he shows up to my CDL school, and I hand him his little pre-trip sheet there, and we find out really quickly that he can't read it. And and the thing is it's a really sticky thing there, because it's like if we fire him for not being able to read, is it a potential lawsuit there because we discriminated against him? But also at the same time, the federal regulation is that an individual with a CDO operating in interstate commerce has to be able to read, write, and speak conversational English. And if I hand him a pre-trip sheet and the word on the paper is plate, talking about the fifth wheel skid plate there, and he can't read the word plate, then how can we assume that he's going to be going down the road 65 plus miles an hour, come up to an electric sign that says road closed ahead, all eastbound traffic divert the second left, or you know what I mean, like some sort of like relatively complex instruction on an electric sign, but he wouldn't be able to read it. You know what I mean? And so those are always really tricky and difficult situations. Um, yep, yep, I agree. And that was kind of my test there, Chris. If I would hand the guy the regulation that said that he had to read, and if he couldn't read the regulation that said that he had to read, then it's like, all right, bud, that's we're at an impasse there. But in my experience, so training individuals with disabilities, most of them were pretty badass truckers. Even though they had had a hearing impairment or missing a limb or what have you, they rose to the challenge and they overcame, and definitely some of the best and safest drivers out on the road today. Dutch, any final thoughts? I think Dutch froze again. Oh, no, I hear him. Dutch, can you hear me, bud? All right, I can barely hear you, and I'm not entirely sure if it's you or me. Before we sign off there, Dutch, do you have anything you want to plug before we sign off? All right, that was it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting towards the end of our time here. I want to thank everyone for joining us, joining me, Big Rig Ed, and International Asphalt Junkie, Dutch Arentzen, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time to come out and say hi. Don't forget to check out some of Trucking Life's other great streamers, such as the Misadventures of Pat and Heather, Live and Love and Truckin'. You got me, Big Rig Ed. You've got Margaret Stream. Hold on, I'm so sorry. That trucking chick. Yep, that's it. I'm sorry, my puppy is really choosing violence right now. And yeah, and you can find more streams like us and more streams like those only on truckinglife.live. You can also find us on Facebook. And like I said, make sure you guys hit those like and follow buttons, those subscribe buttons, not only for Trucking Life but also for our streamers, so that way you get notifications anytime that we are live. And yeah, don't let the algorithms decide for you. You choose what you want to watch, and if you love us, then make sure that you never miss a show, because we definitely love you and we want to see more of you. So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you soon out on the road. Jed, play us out, bud.